Dropping the LEP droid into a barrel, Boba and Fennec make their way to the hangar. Rounding a corner, the two step into a long vaulted room, and there in front of them is Boba's ship. Now, I made a point of just kind of trying to capture the look of him as he's standing there staring. Like, just take a look at the man's face there, and like, what is going through his head right now?
Chewie, we're home.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Something that much? I get this big, like,
there's a familial connection to it for him, right?
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's between, given where I think that the emotional connection is, like we talked about the dream sequence and the connection that he has to his father. I mean, this is one of two things that he's got left of his father. Like, this has to mean something like it's super important to him.
Also so linked to his identity, really.
Like, well, this is it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to talk about the name thing?
Yeah, we might as well.
What are we going to do? Where are we going? Where are we on this? What is it?
Originally, it was the Slave One.
Sure.
I say it's still the Slave One, and I
do as well.
I don't think it's been changed anywhere except for on Lego boxes. And
future toys, maybe.
Maybe future toys.
Jesus, did I just break that?
Oh, geez. Just the fact that he's referring to it by its class is exactly, Luke doesn't call his X-Wing princess. Certainly, at least not after he finds out she's his sister. And because we named the Falcon, the Falcon is like the Lady Luck, they're characters.
That's right.
Even the Razor Crest, which is a character itself, is the class of the ship.
Yes,
so it's a naming convention. And like you said, in the military, they don't necessarily refer, maybe the people that serve on board the ship refer to that ship together that way, but it's always like, like its the designation and its number. Like,
the big one I saw this week was, and this is again from a balance perspective. You don't say we're going to take, let's say I name my car, Mabel. We don't say we're going to take Mabel. We're going to say we take my car.
Right. Or, you might tell your wife we're going to take Mabel, but you don't tell somebody online, I'm just going to hop on. Is Mabel your horse? You name a horse. So I don't think it's as big a deal. I think people are picking an old thing to trigger them because it's been changed on Lego boxes for almost a year.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing I think is like when there was an accident, a misprint or a misquote, or maybe somebody didn't like the name back then. 2015 Star Wars Encyclopedia. Twice it was misnamed Clone One.
Clone One.
And that's awesome. So if we want to change it, that's an awesome name. But I don't think.
I think it comes down to the same. It's the corporate culture around the Disney company, and just it's the same thing that they did with Slave Leia.
Right, Fire Spray Leia.
We don't we don't call her Slave Leia anymore. I think she was officially changed to Hut Slayer or whatever it is that they want to get rid of that connotation and association.
That's
to
what
slavery.
The Hutts call her in the Aftermath novels. Actually,
they do.
She's referred to by the Hutts as the Hut Slayer.
Hut Slayer. That's pretty cool, and that's fine. We accept that Slave One is a Fire Spray 31 patrol vessel. We've known that for a long time when it was introduced that way to us back in the Star Wars Bounty Hunter video game. But as we were hashing it out this week, the fact remains that we do have an on-screen canonical reference to the name Slave One. And I think we could play that, and we can put this one to rest. I think. Here you go.
I hate to agree with Castus, but there's a better way to do this.
But Aura!
Bosk, fire up Slave One. We're going to blast what's left of this ship.
And there you have it. So that's the Clone Wars season 2, episode 21, R2 Come Home. And we've referenced that episode several times, and we're going to talk even more about that episode today. But that's Aura Singh communicating with Bounty Hunter Bosk, informing him that they're leaving and fire up Slave One. So, that is an in-canon, on-screen mention.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you want to call it Slave One, it's Slave One. If they never refer to it by the name Slave One and they just keep saying my ship, my ship, my ship, the reality is that any time that they ever refer to any starship, there's always context, and I, as the viewer, have never been confused as to what they were talking about. Ever.
Never, not once.
Do you know what I mean? So if they never use the word Slave One ever again, if they never say fire spray gunship ever again, it's fine.
Right. Right.
Both are correct terms. It is the context with which they are being used.
Perhaps we should be more disturbed by the rumors that when Mando shows up, he's going to be in an N1
in an
N1 starfighter.
Yes. Listen, I love the N1. I think it's a beautiful design.
For me, that's cool because I think he needs a droid to pilot that thing, doesn't he?
Well,
that could be cool.
Does Mando? Is he a droid wielding? Like, does he need a sidekick? I mean, Grogu was his sidekick, right? Like,
I don't know.
If you took the droid socket out and you put a dome on it, and suddenly it was a back seat, that seems more plausible to me.
It's probably something that was just thrown out there to trigger people because there's a few other rumors.
Very well could be. I mean, we've got other Mandalorian things that are going to come up later on in the episode. But yes, Mando is on his way. We know that's happening. Is he going to turn up in a starship? Yes. Would it make more sense? And this is sort of what I was thinking was, given what's happening right now over on his corner of the galaxy, where he's now in possession of the Darksaber, he cannot just give it to Bo-Katan. Bo is very much focused on the liberation of Mandalore. I don't think it's completely out of place that she would maybe loan him her fighter, which is a bit more meaty. It's a little bigger. I can't think of the class, the thing with the big wings on it.
Yeah.
But it's a much larger ship, and that just sort of fits with that whole bounty hunter, I need cargo space that an N1 just doesn't do for you.
Yeah, but at the same time, with that Darksaber, he's now a leader, right? So let me get your ship.
I hear you on that one. I think that the Darksaber thing,
it's going to play out at some point.
I don't think it'll play out in this show.
No.
I think that needs its own room to breathe.
If you see him, I think he'll wield it. I don't think they'll explain it, and I think that you'll get just like we got the explanation for what happened to Fennec Shand in this series. Yeah. I think you'll get the current event, and we'll get a big show, and then I think you'll watch.
We'll get the backstory in season 3 of The Mandalorian,
right? Because this is clearly being written like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
I had a similar line of thought as well. The only difference is, I thought that there's every chance that he will show up and we'll be like, "Where's the Darksaber?" That we won't see it at all.
It could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised either way. In fact, if he shows up with an entire army of Mandalorians, I'll cheer from the rafters. And if he shows up, half naked, I'll be less enthusiastic. But I mean, let's go.
That's right. Do we need to spend any more time on the Slave One thing? Did you want me to go through I actually went through the maritime tradition of changing a name on a ship. About how much like bad voodoo there is on changing a ship's name.
Yeah.
Like, there is this whole maritime superstition that changing a ship's name is just, it's bad luck.
You need 10 Roman gladiators and the ghost of Steve McQueen to do it. So
the short version is you must remove all traces of the current name from everywhere on the ship. So anywhere, which means if you've got it on a nameplate somewhere underneath the dashboard, like every trace of the name from every place of the ship. Then you must perform a purging ceremony. Then you must do a renaming ceremony. Then you must say a big prayer to appease the 4 wind gods. And then you must have a toast to complete the honor of the ceremony. So it's a big deal. And because, as we've said before, Star Wars being derivative of so many other things, and we like to impose sort of those, we like to cherry pick which real world things are allowed to influence our Star Wars. But like, you can't deny that the real world does influence the show and the films. And I just don't think,
if they're going with the maritime convention, every ship needs a name. I'm sure if you dig deep far enough, like, you'll find a name for every Star Destroyer.
Absolutely. There's probably a naming plaque. I mean, I know Star Trek makes a big deal. It's right on outside the turbo lift on the bridge of every ship. I'm sure there's something similar in Star Wars, whether it's,
at the same time, you don't need it unless you really, really need to go find it.
The other thing is, most, except for the Falcon, and even the classes of the ships, I don't even think they were called X-Wings in A New Hope. Originally, it was just lock S-foils in attack position.
Yeah.
We didn't get the names for these things until we got toys.
Yeah.
Or trading cards or comics. Like, nobody knew what a twin pod cloud car was. Right?
No, and I mean, you really
half the characters we didn't even know their names. We didn't know Pondo Baba was Pondo Baba till like nearly the 90s.
That's right. I mean, up until then, he was Walrus Man, and he had flippers for hands.
So
what's the other guy? Snaggletooth.
Yeah.
When they have no legs to stand on, I can't really even walk in the same room with these people.
It makes it very difficult to have, as I said last week, as a balanced fan. It makes it very difficult to have an informed conversation with somebody, because you're getting yelled at about how your thing is invalid while their thing is the only thing that could possibly exist, because, well, your thing is just silly.
Yeah.
Which is really, it's a good indicator, like, time to pull back. Like,
this is somebody else's intellectual property.
That's right. Oh my Lord. Okay.